is Monday, December 15th, 2025. This is First Alert Weather Plus. Meteorologist Nicholas Snyder here with everything you need to know about what's coming up. And certainly there is a lot to talk about here on this episode of First Alert Weather Plus, so we will get right into it here. Certainly it has been cold and it has been snowy so far in December, but things are about to change here in the long-term forecast. The first thing we're going to talk about, though, is that winter storm recap. We did have quite a bit of heavy snow in some spots over the weekend especially. We're going to talk about what we saw from this winter storm that we did see over the weekend on Saturday night. There is another system on the way. We have a lot to talk about there, not so much in the snow department, but more so in the active weather department and some other forms of precipitation and maybe a little bit of gusty wind to talk about here as well. We're also talking about what's going on in the long-term forecast here. Certainly could be some interesting things headed our way here in the long term, so we'll get you right into that and what you should need to know in terms of that long-term forecast. So first thing we're going to talk about is the winter storm recap. Yes, Tony's going to give you a ski report, but we're also going to take a look at some of the things that have been going on over the last couple of days here. And yeah, we saw a lot of snow in some spots. Let me zoom into certain areas here so you can get a better idea and a better picture of what exactly went on. Some locations saw 6 to 8 inches of snow. That was mainly along the US 50 corridor here in southern Ohio, also along the US 50 corridor in West Virginia, basically Athens to Parkersburg, into portions of Wirt County, and this would be Ritchie County out here, entering into far eastern and northern West Virginia. Elkins, 13 inches of snow. Other places up toward the Morgantown area, we had 9 inches of snow there, 15 inches of snow here at Canaan Valley right along the Maryland border. So quite a bit of heavy snow indeed over the area. 2.5 inches of snow that did fall in Huntington, around 3 inches for the Charleston area. That does verify our 2 to 4. We had about 3 inches in Scioto County here. Parts of, let's say, northern Lawrence County got in on some of that 3-inch action too. But again, Jackson, 6.7, MacArthur, 8 inches, almost 5 inches in Athens, parts of Meigs County in that 6 to 8 range. We had an 8.5-inch report over toward southwestern Jackson County, West Virginia. So it did favor the US 50 corridor indeed. Areas further to the south, Lincoln County got about 2 inches, Logan County, same deal. The further south you went, in general, the less snow you got, about 1 to 3 inches. In east central Kentucky, northeast Kentucky got a bit more, down toward Pikeville, under an inch from this system. If you remember, on Friday's system, Pikeville had about 3 inches of snow on the ground, so quite a difference between what we saw now and what we saw then. And the reason we saw this banding up here in southern Ohio is the atmosphere, what the atmosphere characteristics looked like here. If you took a vertical cross-section of that atmosphere and you laid it on a plot here of temperature, which is this line here on the right side of that plot, and dew point, or the level or the temperature at which air can condense out water, on the left here, this is the kind of thing you'd get. And you plot winds on here as well. You get very, very fast winds increasing aloft. You get this very humid column of air, and you'd get this somewhat stable but also somewhat unstable column of air. This is what causes what we know as conditional symmetric instability, slantwise convection. And in that band of 6 to 8 inches of snow, right along the US 50 corridor, that is exactly what we saw. And that's what caused the 6 to 8 inches of snow in that narrow band right there, in a zone of forcing where the winds kind of converged, allowed that air to rise, and caused that very, very heavy band of snow that we did see over there in parts of the southern portion of Ohio and the northern portion of West Virginia here. So let's go back to the weather computer here. We have a lot to talk about in terms of what this did for the ski resorts. A lot of the ski resorts are looking forward to the holidays and what it could bring, and certainly there is some things we need to watch in terms of how much snow they got and how it could affect us as we go into the holidays, those ski resorts especially. So Chief Meteorologist Tony Cavalier, he did a little story and a little report on just what happened with the snow and how it affected those ski resorts here.
So the weather pattern here in December, that December to remember that Nicholas was talking about back in November as far as the weather on First Alert Plus. Charleston with 3 inches of snow over the weekend, now approaching a top 10 all-time snowiest December. It'll take one more snowfall in the second half of the month to put Charleston in that lofty category. And by the way, not only in our area, but it was the first good snow up into the I-95 corridor from the Capital District, Baltimore, up to my hometown of Philly, New York to Boston. The first really good snow of the season. Net in many areas 3 to 6 inches of snow. And now you can literally drive from coast to coast along the Canadian-U.S. border with snow on the ground till you get to the Pacific Ocean. Roughly 40% of America is now covered in snow. And obviously it would be great to have this for Christmas, but as Nicholas will be mentioning, no doubt, it looks like an overall warming trend will whittle away at most of this snow, at least south of I-80, over the course of the next week. By the way, as far as the ski report's concerned, I want to keep you up to snuff because recent years, heading into the holiday season, we've had a relative dearth of snow, but not this year. And in fact, it was an oddity. I did a double take, but I even called up the snowshoe to confirm the 4 inches they had Saturday into Sunday compared to 10 inches Canadian Valley, 8 inches Timberline. That would be the snow resorts in far northern West Virginia. And compared to Wisp in Garrett County, Maryland at 8 inches, and across the Maryland and Pennsylvania line to Seven Springs, 11 inches. So somehow Snowshoe missed out on the mother lode of snow. Winter Place in southern West Virginia for the first time this season having less snow than, for example, areas to the north. So this was a northern snowstorm as far as the ski resorts were concerned. Look at the bases. They're beautiful. Anywhere from, in West Virginia, 35 to 70 inches, and packed powdered surfaces. The snow that fell at the ski resorts, reminiscent of a champagne powder. When you see the downhill alpine skier going down and throwing up huge amounts of powdery snow, that's the type of snow that has occurred. But a cautionary word, these are likely the best snow conditions we'll have to ski on up until Christmas Day. So if you have a day or two off this week, especially before rain arrives, even in the mountains probably on Thursday, not a bad idea to take advantage of skiing West Virginia, because here in the middle of December we have excellent conditions, courtesy of several snows November into December, and now the storm that passed this past weekend.
Yeah, thanks, Tony. You mentioned it. The warm-up is on the way, and we have a lot to talk about regarding that because if you're looking to go skiing and you're looking to get in some winter recreation, this may be the week to do it before things change in a big way. Let's talk about it. Area of low pressure now is off to the west here along the Pacific coast. Right up here coming into Vancouver, you see that swirl. We have a strong warm front that is basically moving its way off to the east and impacting much of the northwest. In this region, we're seeing continued very warm temperatures. But guess what? This is what's headed our way in the meantime, and it's certainly something that is going to change the weather in a big way. We do have high pressure to the south as well. That is also driving in some southerly winds to the area. But once that warm front gets here, the rain that we're seeing is actually going to move its way toward us, and it's going to keep being rain. It's going to remain rain over the area. We are not going to see any more snow, at least in the next 7 days. Another thing it's also going to do is provide us with a little bit more of that wind. As you'll see here, once we move this system forward, notice how it really gains its strength. It lifts up more air, causes lower pressure here at the surface. I'll go back to this frame right here where you'll really notice it. Strong diverging air. The wind's coming together at this moment in this general area right here. And I'll actually pause this for you so you can see. Right in here is where the winds are coming together from the north and from the west. But out here towards Chicago in the Midwest, you'll see winds going back to the north and back to more of an easterly, westerly direction. So that creates that area of low pressure, that diverging air, the rising motion that would drive the development of tighter pressure gradient as well as more precipitation that would move into the area. At a more localized level, we'll see in this picture right here, you'll notice, boom, a local maximum of wind in the lower levels of the atmosphere should drive in a little bit more of this precipitation along the frontal axis right here, moving into the evening hours of Thursday. In that focused region, we could see some gustier winds as well as that precipitation, the cold air within the precipitation, pulls down very strong winds high up in the sky, leading to some gusty winds, let's say up to 35 miles an hour in some spots. But the main thing you're going to notice here is, of course, the burst of rain that will be coming along that frontal region before things calm down, at least precipitation-wise, behind that frontal region. So let's track that precipitation for you. Really, over the next couple of days, we're dry. It's not till Thursday evening. You notice again, right along the front, burst of heavy rain, Summersville, Beckley, Sutton, maybe a few lingering showers behind that, but this is the main burst of rain right in here along Corridor L. Now, if we back this up to, let's say, 6 p.m., you notice the rain would be headed into the Huntington area. So it's a line of rain. The good news with that is we're not expecting any flooding from this. It's going to be a very fast-moving line of rain. It'll get out of here. Precipitation accumulation shouldn't amount to anything more than an inch over the area, which again will not cause any flooding concerns for us, which is very, very good news. We don't want to see that, especially with snow melt going on. This rain, of course, is going to eat up a lot of the snow that we did see, especially in southern Ohio, where they still have 4 to 6 to up to 8 inches of snow on the ground here, as well as up here into the mountains of West Virginia. And on top of that, you add terrain to that, so that's not very good. But in that zone, we don't want to see any sort of adverse precipitation. Doesn't look like we're going to get it. Just going to melt the snow, and it's just going to cause a burst of rain for us during mainly the evening time frame of Thursday, along with some gustier winds over the area. Speaking of the winds, we definitely have to talk about that. As high pressure works its way to the east and low pressure nears, I mentioned how the winds really pick up higher in the sky. That diverging of air causes that lift for that area of low pressure. And as that area of low pressure really increases its strength because of that, that's where we're going to see that pressure gradient, as you'll notice here by those white lines, very close together, really tighten up, really gain some strength, and cause some gustier winds, especially behind this cold front. Behind fronts, we get sinking air, a lot of cold air. Those strong winds high up in the sky sometimes get pulled down by that cold air behind the front. So that's certainly a possibility as we head here into Friday morning, and it's something that we're watching closely here as well. Now, those winds pick up, let's say, around that burst of rain. The cold air within the burst of rain can help pull down those stronger winds as well. You're talking mainly 20 to 30, maybe 35 mile-an-hour gusts. The good news with that is we're not seeing the trash cans tipped over. We're not seeing any power outages. We're not seeing any porch furniture blown around, the Christmas decorations. We're not seeing anything like that having an impact on you for Thursday or Friday. The bad news is this is just below the alert threshold. This can certainly change. It could increase its strength, especially if the timing changes up a little bit and we talk more about a Thursday or Friday afternoon system. That's where we really have to worry about the winds picking up. We're watching it. Now, that's one model. That was the European model I showed you. Our NBM, or the National Weather Service model, a little bit less aggressive on the wind. That's why we're going on the conservative side here. 20 to 30 mile-an-hour winds, I think, are common. And again, that's not going to cause a huge impact for us. That's not to say during the evening commute of Thursday and during the morning commute of Friday, you won't notice the wind. You will certainly notice the wind for sure. Now, the temperatures are going to be warm, especially Thursday, but on Friday morning, maybe a little chillier. But the point is, you're not going to be seeing too adverse of impacts over the area. You're going to be seeing noticeable wind, though. Good hairspray day, certainly, for Thursday and Friday here. Temperatures right now, very chilly, only reaching the lower and middle 20s. Now, as we move things forward in time, things get a little different. We're in the upper 50s and lower 60s. I mentioned that warm front coming in. When a low pressure gains strength and it's well to the north, we also get a southerly push of wind. That is also going to help set up the development of those warmer temperatures. We should be back into the upper 50s and lower 60s by Thursday afternoon. Cold front will sweep through. Friday afternoon looks quite a bit different. Lower and middle 30s do appear likely, and that's pretty common on our national blend of models or the National Weather Service model here as well. Upper 50s and lower 60s on Thursday, and I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of us did hit 60, but only into the lower and middle 30s on Friday. But that cool down is short-lived, and I'll tell you why here right now. Let's go back to the weather computer. I want to show you just exactly what is going to be going on in the long term. We talked a lot about the Madden-Julian oscillation, the MJO. What is this going to do? Well, it's still in its cold phase. You'll notice the 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th, teetering on phase 8 and phase 1. Phase 8, phase 1, very cold phase. I showed you those phases a couple weeks ago. Basically, all you need to know is this general zone right here is a cold MJO. That keeps us at least on the cooler side of things, all else going right. But as you're about to see, not all else is going to go right. Let's talk about the European model first. And again, it's showing a very similar thing, the long-range European model. Maybe wanting to take this in phase 2 or phase 3. That may help us warm up as we head toward the end of December into January. The European model, though, wanting to keep us toward phase 8 into January as well. The longer-range European trying to keep us in phase 2. Again, 8, 1, 2, that is cold phases. 3, 4, 5, that's warm. Phase 6 as well. Phase 7 is teetering on the border of warm and cold. And then 8, 1, 2 is the cold phase. 3, 4, 5, 6 is the warm phase. Want to stress that. All the models, though, wanted to keep us in phase 8/phase 9, with the exception of this bomb model, wanting to get us into phase 4 and 5 before getting back into phase 8. But the general consensus here is that we stay in phase 8. The unfortunate thing, though, for the snow lovers is that the Arctic oscillation or the polar vortex is in its positive phase, which means the polar vortex is going to strengthen up quite a bit over the next couple of weeks or so. As long as we're in the positive phase, and this goes all the way out to about January 1st right here, we are going to stay warm over much of the eastern United States. Same thing for the North Atlantic oscillation. Now, it is a little bit less positive than what the Arctic oscillation is, but you'll see in the not-too-distant future, it is going to remain positive. So, if you're looking for a lot of snow, that does not look to be a strong case for you, unfortunately, if you're a snow lover. And you can really see this polar vortex wanting to strengthen up as we go back here to the weather computer. So this starts today at 7 p.m. You'll notice that polar vortex has retreated quite a bit back up toward, well, we'll just say back into the North Atlantic. That's that positive North Atlantic oscillation. Moving this forward, you'll notice the polar vortex wanting to stay up exactly where it is, in the poles. The North Atlantic oscillation, positive right here. Arctic oscillation, positive. Even the Eastern Pacific oscillation remaining positive. The cold air over Alaska. All three of those things positive. Does not matter what the MJO is doing. You are going to see warm air surging into the United States, which is exactly what it's going to do for the rest of this week here, into the end of this week and into the weekend here as well. Now, we'll get a brief disruption on Friday, like I mentioned earlier, but it's going to stay on the warmer side of things in the near future. You'll see here again on the short-term run of this, if it wants to go. My apologies for the data freezing up on us, but essentially what we're looking at here is a warm-up in the near to long-term forecast. And I'll be bold and say that we'll probably be likely above average going into the rest of the month of December. So if you're looking for a white Christmas, I don't think it's going to happen for you, unfortunately. Definitely not going to see a whole lot of snow chances in the next 6 to 10 days. In the next 8 to 14 days, and really, I think, into the rest of the month of December. Now, as we go back to our oscillations here, our teleconnections, you'll notice that the NAO wants to go negative toward the end of December and into the beginning of January. Same thing for the AO, especially toward the end of December into January. If that does occur, with the MJO remaining in phase 8 or phase 1, we will get some more shots of cold air as we head into January. But as things stand now, the rest of December looks to be warm, looks to be mild, And for snow lovers, not a good sight. So for those of us wanting to do some Christmas skiing, hopefully they're able to make some snow or at least rely on the base that they already have out in those areas, because we're not going to see a whole lot of that snow in the coming couple of weeks here. Now, temperature-wise, again, above average. Precipitation-wise, looks to be near average over the area. I think we'll get a few shots of rain here or there, similar to what we're seeing Thursday into Friday. With those areas of low pressure well to our north, those snow chances are going to remain kind of minuscule, and we're just going to get little shots of rain here or there. Not going to see any major flooding rains, which is good, but also we're not going to be seeing too beneficial of rains. And I know a lot of us aren't really in a drought anymore. We did see that flash drought toward the end of summer and into the fall. We're really not in drought conditions anymore because of the active weather that we've seen all through November and into December. But as long as we're seeing that near average rain, we should be good to go. All right, here is the super 7-day forecast. Again, we got to track those winds that we will be seeing as we head here into Friday. Those gusts up to 35 miles an hour, definitely a possibility. I don't think up to 40 quite yet, which is why we don't have a first alert weather day here just yet for Friday. If that changes, we'll be the first to let you know. Certainly, you're going to want to know about that. But right now, I think we're below the danger threshold. We're below the impact threshold, if you will. So we should be A-okay. Just, again, have that hairspray on. You don't want your hair blown around too much. And 2 hands on the steering wheel. You hear Marley and I say that all the time when we talk about windy days. It's going to be a little blustery for your day Friday, even on Thursday evening as well. This is First Alert Weather Plus. We give you updates on everything you need to know in terms of that weather. We continue to keep you updated on air, online, and on your phone. And if we see anything, we'll give you the first alert. We also go in depth on this, give you everything you need to know in terms of weather, and talk about the long-term forecast here as well. We air every Monday, 6:45 to 7 p.m. here on WSAZ+. If you want to catch us on the past episodes, you can find us on WSAZ.com. There will be a tab that says First Alert Weather Plus right there. You can also catch our YouTube channel, WSAZ First Alert Weather Plus, where we post daily content there. Be sure to like and subscribe, and you can see all the past episodes there. This episode will be posted tomorrow, and again, you can find all the past episodes there as well. In the meantime, be sure to follow us on Facebook. I'm meteorologist Nicholas Snyder on Facebook. Tony is Tony Cavalier on Facebook. Dylan is Dylan Goday Weather on Facebook. In the meantime, make it a great Monday, everybody.